pull in. You got your name on the tag?
Yes.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning and welcome in. Sorry, we're a few minutes late, but at least we got our sound working today. It is a good Saturday morning. I hope that you had a great Friday evening, and we're here talking about the death of self-proclaimed relationship guru and image consultant Kevin Samuels, who passed on Thursday, May the 5th. A lot of controversy around his death, but also we want to look at some things as far as who we are as women and this polarizing figure that was able to come in and um, set a fire in the Black community between Black men and Black women, and even within ourselves. So, we're going to talk about some things and see if we can add something to the conversation. I'm going to play this quick intro. You can hear me, right, sis?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay, I can hear you.
All
We good to
right.
go. So, I am okay. There's my mouse. Okay, let me play this quick intro and we'll be right back. All right, good morning. Good morning. I didn't get my coffee or anything. Can you hear me, sis?
Yeah, I can.
I said I didn't get a chance to get my coffee or nothing.
I got mine. I was like, woo,
No, it's
need this wake up, Java.
I know. I wanted to I meant to get me some coffee. I had to let Brax out and do all of that kind of stuff and fool with him. So I didn't get a chance to do nothing. So we're talking about Kevin Samuels again. I guess he started off as a image consultant for men, and I was able to look at. So were you able to look at some of his older
No,
videos?
actually, I didn't. I didn't go that far back. I was just looking at some stuff that was more recent and looking at conversations with his daughter. Oh, hang on a second.
Yeah.
1 second.
Oh, okay. I didn't get a chance to see his daughter. We will talk to her about that some more in a second. But yeah, it's very interesting. This Kevin Samuels figure. And when Tanya comes back, I want to see if I can get our name tags on. Um, y'all have to. Okay, there we go. Um,
Oh, okay. I'll do that.
what was I trying to say? Oh, I was just saying that I didn't get a chance to see his daughter. I do know that he has one child, but we'll go back through his biological history. I do know that uh Pastor Jamal Bryant. Did you hear the sermon Jamal Bryant did last
No,
Sunday
I
that
don't
everybody's
know
talking
him.
about?
No, what did he say? That would be interesting to hear his response.
Well, he threw a lot of shade at Kevin Samuels and telling women, how basically that just dispelling his last statement. He did this last video that if you're over 35 and unmarried, you're
Yeah,
a
that you're.
leftover woman.
Yeah, I heard about that. That
So
that
this was
sparked a
the
lot of stuff, boy.
yeah, I guess this was the last main video that he did before he passed away.
Mm.
And so I guess Jamal was trying to encourage the women, but at the end he says, "How are you a high value man and you need a GoFundMe for your funeral?" So now that is the talk of the town, because now everybody is saying, well, you got people that support Jamal Bryant, and you got people that are saying, look at all Jamal Bryant's had a lot of problems.
Yeah, he's not one to really give much piggybacking on different things because he's a little messy.
Yeah, I'm
He's
just
a little
saying.
messy. Yeah, he's a little messy boots over there at the church. So
Little messy boots over there. So okay, so I want to start here. I guess so what I do know of Kevin Samuels, because like we talked about, neither one of us were a quote unquote follower of him, but we knew who he was.
Right.
And so, but this idea of the high value man, and in some ways I think it's a good thing, because I do think black men are devalued in this country, period, in general. And so I, anything that would boost their self-esteem, help them to realize their worth and all of that kind of stuff is good. But I think it was his delivery and the manner which he did it. What do you think about that in terms of what you heard so far or what
I
you
mean,
saw?
a lot of the stuff that he did was really revolving around his delivery. I mean, some of the things that he talked
Yeah.
about and discussed, I do find that it was pertinent. It was some things that probably really needed to be said. And
Hmm.
again, it's all about your delivery. It's about your choice of words that make it not so harsh. And that was one of the things that I think that people found to be so discouraging about him, was that his words and his demeanor about it was so cocky and arrogant. And it
Yeah.
wasn't that we were misconstruing the arrogance for confidence, but it was just simply arrogance.
No.
It was simply arrogance, and that's a whole different thing to come up with when you're down, when you're trying to think you're lifting people up, but you're essentially bringing them down. I mean, some
Right.
of the things he's saying, yes, we need to be conscious of our health, in our diets, so that we're
Of
not
weight and all of
overweight.
that.
Making sure that you're looking your best at, as much as possible. Making sure that you're wearing your best. I mean, you don't want to just continue to think that because you felt this way, or you want to do this and you want to do that, that you just go out and you look any kind of way. I mean, based on my background and upbringing, there's just certain things I'm not going to ever walk out the house looking like. I'm never going to walk out the house
Right.
with a bonnet on my head. I'm never going to walk out the house with my house slippers on. You know,
Hmm.
um, I'm going to comb my hair. If I can't really get a style or do something about how to comb my hair, I'm going to put a hat on.
Put a hat on. Yeah.
Exactly. And my clothes are going to be clean. I may throw something on that I don't often wear that is a little bit more casual, or something that you say is a rip and run outfit. Maybe you just had to run to the store or run and do something really quick. I'm still going
Right.
to be decent. I'm going to be decent, because you don't know what you're going to come across because you're out here.
Yeah, and that's true. I mean, I remember, remember they used to teach us to always keep on clean underwear and keep
Yeah,
your legs greased, because you don't know, you might have a car accident, have to go to the
exactly.
hospital or
Exactly. And
something,
then you'd be like,
you
oh,
know.
Lord, what's going on
And, then,
down
and
here?
and back in the day, they used to teach us as young women coming up. I remember my grandmother bought me and my sister panty girdles for Christmas.
Wow. What a Christmas
And
gift.
girl,
I mean,
I
what a
don't know. I
Christmas
think my
gift.
sister threw hers in the garbage. I didn't go that far, but I regret it. I remember getting older and regretting, because she used to say, "Y'all not gonna always keep them little cute bodies."
Well, the thing was, it was to smooth yourself out under your clothes. It wasn't
Yes.
necessarily to enhance anything. It was to make you look together, pulled together, smooth under your clothes and those type of
Well,
things.
that was your first part of your dress, is
Yeah,
your undergarments.
exactly.
Yeah, if you're not,
All that was important. I mean, I remember just
yeah,
being 5 years old and going to the doctor and always having to put your real good clothes on. Like, oh my God, I got to put a dress
yes,
on to go to the doctor. No,
yep,
mama, no. But
yep,
that's what you did. Your clothes were
well,
clean and ironed, and you took a bath the day before or whatever it was to go to
all
your
of that.
appointment. And all of those things, I think we've kind of lost value. And I'm not saying that you have to still do that, but more importantly, I think as a people, we've lost the dignity of how we want to carry ourselves and what we should look like when we're going out and
I
doing
agree.
it.
I
That's my
agree.
issue. I mean, we're going
Yeah.
out in pajama pants and getting on airplanes with bonnets on and these slip-in shoes that you buy at the Chinese beauty supply
The
and all
beauty
of those
supply.
things. Yeah. I mean, we're
I
just
like
doing the
them
most for
fluffy
what?
shoes.
Yeah,
What
with
they call them,
you.
mules or something or
I don't know
whatever.
what they are, but they are not made for that type of situation. And I mean, and if
No.
they are, and you decide, you know what, maybe I have foot surgery, my foot hurt, and it's discomfortable for me, you need to fix the rest of it with it. Dragging blankets and pillows and all that to get on the
Yeah, that's
plane and
true.
these kind of things. It's just ridiculous. It's
Yeah,
ridiculous. I mean, I've traveled way overseas, 20 something hours going over to Europe
on
and
a
different
flight,
things like
right?
that. Yeah. And I've never done anything like that. You
Yeah,
want to be comfortable because it's a long flight, no doubt. But I don't need to carry my own personal pillow. I don't need to carry a personal blanket.
yeah,
You
yeah.
just some things we just out of control with. That's my opinion. I'm not saying that you got to follow it. I'm not that type, but that's just for me.
I think it goes back to what you said, though. I'm trying to find my mouse and see who's in these comments. I think it goes back to what you said. Good morning, Manning. Manning, come on screen, please.
Yes, Manny. She need me to text her the link.
Right. Please text her the link. Hi, Kim. I wish I'd have known you was gonna pop in here. I would have. Good morning, Life's Magical Journey. Thank you, sis, for popping in. I've been trying to do this live magical journey since last week, wasn't I?
Yeah, it's been a minute.
And Peggy's here. Peggy says not boost their worth at the expense of the black women. Peggy, if you want, you can come on screen as well. She says, I agree with being our best self has nothing to do with being over 35. Aging is something that happens to us all, including men. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, you can't change that.
Absolutely.
You cannot change that.
No, you can't beat Father Time.
And I mean, my thing is when you start hitting 35, to me, that's starting to get into
That's
your best,
young.
but that's getting into your best. I remember being 35, and
Absolutely.
that was when you were
I
starting to
wish I could go back to 35.
what
I
you
would do
talking about,
a few
baby.
things
Yes,
different, but
yes.
like you said, I hit my stride at 35.
Right. You start really
Yeah.
coming into yourself and presenting yourself as a real grown person. And to say
Yeah.
that you are a leftover at 35 is to me
It's
absolutely ludicrous.
crazy.
Yeah, it is. And then
Yeah.
the facts that a lot of people at that age are you're either starting something new in your life, which is sometimes marriage, being becoming a parent, maybe just landing that perfect job that you've been waiting for since you finished college, or all kinds of things. That to me is like that's the birthing to me of your real self.
He said, yes, I'm glad you got it figured out, sis. I've been trying to talk about Kevin Samuels for he been dead a week.
I know, right? But at this point, we be going to the cemetery.
I know. Is it? Yeah, he might be there already. I think we way behind schedule.
Oh, but
So
let me
yeah,
say this, despite everything that's going on with him and what was, I really want to put my condolences out there for his family, especially his mom and his daughter. They were just crushed by what happened with him. Oh, girl, my whole thing done fell off.
now how you leave and you on full screen?
I have no idea
I
what
thought
happened.
you was getting ready to have a full statement.
It dropped off. My screen got black.
Oh, it did.
Yeah, it went totally
It
black.
should
So
have. Let
I
me
just
try it again. Let me try it again.
it's black.
Well, that's okay. I know. I thought you was getting ready to make a formal statement to the family. I was trying to put you up in full screen for you
Oh,
to do
well,
that.
like I said, just my condolences to his mother and how she
Yeah.
found out about his passing, and his daughter. I mean, I heard that they kind of had a tumultuous relationship, but still the same. That was her father.
Yeah.
So, it's hurtful, I'm sure, and disappointing, because no matter what, he's never going to be in her presence again physically.
Exactly. And from what I understand, he was an only child as well. And from on as far as his mother.
Okay,
See, I
yeah, I've
told
heard
you.
that.
She said it didn't go black for them,
Oh,
so,
okay.
so
Well,
they
I'm
can
glad I
sue
didn't
you.
do
I don't
anything
know.
reckless because it was all black
Yeah,
on
no,
the
okay, because
outside.
I was wondering why you froze, why you was looking stuck. I'm like, what's she doing?
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
all black. But anyway, let's get
no,
back to the meat and potatoes about this dude. Like I said, he was a mess. I mean, his
yeah, sounds
whole,
like it.
yeah, I mean, what he was trying to tell the black community or share with us or uplift us, polish him up or whatever his motives was or what he was trying to do, it was just it was extremely abrasive. A lot of the comments and the things like that, they were damaging, I think. So someone that has real low self-esteem could really find issues with what he was saying, really could. And especially if they've had some things happen. Hey, Nick. Hey,
Hey,
morning,
I was
sweetie.
just
How are
about to
you?
text you. I was just going to text you.
How you
Go
guys
ahead, T.
doing?
Yeah, I
We're
mean,
doing great. I didn't get a chance to get my coffee this morning, but it's okay.
right. His whole motif, it could be really damaging to people with low self-esteem, or bring up anger issues amongst them because they may have been feeling some kind of way about their life and the struggles and things that they've dealt with and they've gone through, and those things can be very damaging. And
Yeah,
when we really want to tell the truth or really let someone know things about what's going on and how you should consider changing and cleaning yourself up, you still need to be gentle with it. Or if it's not really gentle, you may, you just have to watch your words. My thing is that, I mean, he was just so cruel. And then for the fact that here all of this has happened where now he's left this earth and he wasn't that person that we thought he was, it's like, dude, are you serious? You want him to just come back to life
yeah,
just so you can tell him about that? So
yeah,
Yeah, uh this whole thing that has happened, that we've found some things that we've learned since he has passed on. I've heard people say to me that he wasn't even living what he was preaching, and talking
exactly.
about.
no,
And I just, I don't know. I've listened to him on several occasions, not because I was a fan, but I just found it almost unbelievable. I
What he
just
was
found
talking
it,
about.
I just could not believe. And here's the thing, this was he had a didactic, this was like similar to like even like a methodology that he had. He would ask the questions, he would ask these very specific questions and interview women, and he had a system. And depending on what you said or whatever your response was, you were doomed,
Yes,
and
his
there was
reaction, his
there was
reaction was gonna
no
always
upside.
be, yeah, his reaction was gonna always be negative. It was
You were
never,
doomed, no
yeah,
matter what you
he
said,
was
no
never
matter
gonna
how.
lift you up. He wasn't going to applaud you. He wasn't going to say, "Hey, sis, I appreciate you. You got yourself together. You're out here doing it." He wasn't giving those type of acronyms at all. He wasn't doing that. It was
He was
all a mess.
it was gloom, and it was doom, and it,
Disrespectful.
and I said, I thought about it. I said, he must have known that when he created this whole image consulting thing that he was that he was creating himself to be this villain, because people, while they may not like you because of what you're saying, people have an interest because they have an interest. And so even though those of us who care nothing for his didactic or his methods or whatever, even those of us who did not particularly care for that and were not a fan of him, we were like, let me see what this guy is saying today. You know what I
Yeah. I
mean?
mean, people amazingly enough thrive off of foolishness. You know what I'm saying? And that's kind of how I felt, that anything that they thought would be controversial or explosive and things like that, they were all into it. I mean, I guess the calmer heads and the smoothness of it just wasn't important. But yet at the same time, you wanted to say, oh, he's crazy. He's this, he's that. People were dialing in, people were following him. So you were boosting everything that he was saying. So
It's
he felt he didn't have to change up what he was doing. He didn't have to change how he was saying things because he had too many followers. Too many people were involved in what he was saying. So he felt like, okay, y'all are okay with this. So I'm going to keep on.
He also had a really good male following.
Yes,
Yes,
yes.
He did.
and I feel
He
like
has a huge male following.
he was a voice for men, but I just don't think that it was a strong voice, and I think it was a voice that was very patronizing and demeaning to women. And you have to kind of wonder about the men who were like, cheering him on and everything.
That's true.
You have to wonder, like,
I
ugh,
think that some, yeah, you all said a lot in a short period of time, because I think that's why some people said he was dangerous
yeah,
I
to the
could say
okay,
I
community.
could agree to that. I could agree to that.
Uh, so I want you to give me your thoughts on that, Tanya, in a second. But one of the things that you all said, which is very important, we have to understand marketing. And
Hmm.
one of the reasons
yeah,
why I'm not upset that he's not who he portrayed himself to be. He didn't own anything, had very little money in the bank. Now there's all kind of conspiracy theories out here that I've been listening to, that this lawyer and some women around him that ripped him off and whatever. They said he only had 4 suits in his closet, $1,000 in the bank. They had to set up GoFundMe or whatever. Then they turned around and said the GoFundMe was fraudulent for the funeral. But so there's a lot of conspiracy theories. But here's the thing: in fact, did not own anything. Not his fan. He had several high end cars. It wasn't an Aston Martin, but I know he had
I think he had a
like a Mercedes
Maserati
truck.
or
He had some high
something.
end
Yeah,
vehicles.
he had a Maserati, I believe, was one of his vehicles, a Mercedes.
Yeah, it
You
was
know,
several. They had several. And then this condo that he lived in Buckhead, he didn't own that, and he was bi-coastal because he also had a condo in Miami. But come to find out, they were both Airbnbs.
mm,
So, uh,
wow.
but it does not surprise me, because when you look at his older videos, it was clear he had no money. I mean, his initial videos were awful, but that just speaks to the nature of doing YouTube as a business. Everybody's videos are awful, and
Uh,
you
He
know
grew. He grew in the
he
length
grew
of
and he
his.
developed
Yeah.
he honed his skills and developed his craft of being a content creator. So I'm not mad at that. A lot of people are saying he was out here disillusioning and deceiving the community, but that's not necessarily so, because a lot of people come on here and set up beautiful sets, backgrounds. We do all kinds of things to make our channels more appealing so people can subscribe. It's not just the main thing they want you to focus on is the content itself, but in the reality of it is that if your channel is raggedy, you're not going to grow.
Exactly. I mean, it's the same thing
So
even in the
it could
entertainment
have,
industry. They make all these videos, they show themselves like they're at home in mansions and driving this and doing this and wearing all
oh
this expensive
yeah,
jewelry. But all it is a
yeah.
costume. It's just
Tupac
something
died
to
broke.
attract,
I
right?
mean,
because
you know,
people are attracted to that.
Right.
come
I mean, but
on.
you think
Because
about
That's
it.
our fault.
Right. But think about this. If you saw something that was just, mediocre, just barely looking good and shiny or whatever, are you attracted to that? No, you're not going to pay a lot of attention to it. You're going to be like,
You're not.
okay, if I get to it. So I understand, like you said, the marketing piece of it, how he had to float something that he wasn't and something that he didn't have. It's just regrettable that now that he's passed away, now all these layers are being peeled that are showing him to be what he wasn't. And
Right.
people are saying, well, and then the other thing, he's not here to defend himself. He's not here to say, well, yeah, I
That's
wasn't
true.
that, but this is what I needed to do to capture my audience, to keep you guys, coming to me and giving me what I needed to complete and make my his career per se. That was what he was, his
Yeah,
career.
it was a whole business for
Yeah,
him.
so I can't be
Brand
mad
deals and
about
all of
that.
that kind of stuff, because he was had brand deals with various cologne companies, perfume companies, and all of that kind of stuff. So this is what people don't understand about YouTube is this is a real business. multi-billion trillion dollars come through YouTube alone.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
And if you can capture an audience, the sky is the limit on the type of money you make, because they're estimating that Kevin Samuels was making probably between YouTube and Instagram, because he was on Twitter, but he made his money on YouTube and Instagram. They're estimating that he was making about $100,000 a month.
Yeah,
With
I heard that.
$1,000 in the bank, though.
But you know what?
Right. Well, that's where all of the conspiracy theories are coming from, to say that he was being ripped off,
But my thing is
because
this: if you got
they
stuff in
say
the
he was
bank and
making too
money
much
put away,
money to
who
not have
gets it? Who
any
can get
money in the
to it?
bank.
But to get to your stuff in the bank, you had to have put somebody else on there to be able to go to the bank and take your stuff. It's not something you can just say, "Oh, I'm coming in here to take money out this account." You have to prove it. You got to have cards with signatures and different things like that for people to be able to get those things out of the bank.
Well, you
You
would be
can't just go to
surprised. You'd actually be surprised, Tanya, how when people are making a lot of money, how there are people that are there managing things for them and saying that they're
yeah, and
managing
Yeah.
things for
that's
them.
you're right. So
And
it
I
wasn't in his personal account that he was probably keeping this. So
sometimes
that's why
people,
it looked like
yeah,
that.
sometimes people are managing things for you as a part of deals that you have made and things of that nature. So I think that a lot. In fact, now that we're talking about this, it's really interesting because there are a lot of people that we see in Hollywood or whatever you want to call it, or the YouTubers, or just people of influence that don't really completely 100% solely manage their money.
Well, most of them don't.
No,
I get that part.
You
But
know,
the fact that, certain
they
things still
don't
should
have the
be in
time. When
place.
those careers get to a certain level, they don't have time to do the business of their business. You know what I
yes,
mean?
yes.
Right.
I invited y'all to a clubhouse talk a
Hmm.
couple weeks ago. And Good morning, Attorney Pam. It's
Hi,
alleged
Pam.
that he owed back child support, so he never put his name on anything.
Yes, I heard that.
Well, if
Attorney
that's
Pam
the case, then
let me tell
yes.
y'all
I heard
about
that.
attorney.
I heard that.
He did. I'm gonna drop the link, Attorney Pam. If you would please, for 1 second, come on screen. I want you guys to meet her. She is a local attorney here in Detroit. She just started her YouTube channel, and I really want you guys, if you would please come up for just, even if it's just a second. I don't know if you're, uh, uh, she's a lawyer, so she's probably okay. Peggy, she says she's got to go. We'll watch the replay. Thank you, Peg. I'm gonna drop this link, Attorney Pam, and if you would come up and give us a quick legal thing, but just say hello. Um, what was we saying, Tanya?
Well, we were just talking about the fact that he owed child support. She was saying that, and that's why he didn't have anything in his name, which would make a lot of sense because he wouldn't want anything to be taken or confiscated. Because if he owed money and they see money in an account with his name on it, then of course they're going to take it. So I can see that.
Yeah.
So anything that he probably had, it was probably in some type of a business name, business account. So it was easy for them to take that and say, "Oh, well, he only had $1,000 in the bank,"
I heard
And
that.
and
his
that
Yes,
could be
lawyer may
personal.
be.
of the child support. I heard
Mm.
that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I had heard
Yeah.
that
One
before he
YouTuber pulled the
passed.
paperwork
Prior,
showing he had just paid it off like last summer.
yeah,
Mm.
prior to his passing, I had heard that though.
Well, if he still owed
Oh,
any money, I
okay.
Yeah,
don't know. But prior,
I
I understood he
No,
only
he
had
paid it
the
off.
but he only had the one daughter, I thought. And like you said,
He did.
she's a real grown woman. So that means he wasn't paying child support for a really, really long time if he still owed money and she was an adult. And I mean, he's not the first man that, has probably been faced with that, as we know. But I don't know. It's like you said, we can't expect him to be some Boy Scout and have all his ducks in a row and be this perfect, whatever person that we would
Right.
think he should have been based on how he was, out here doing stuff. It didn't matter because he felt like, hey, my personal life isn't what's out here. I'm not out here to talk about me. I'm out here talking
Well,
about
he
yeah.
one of the things that he said, because this is one of the things when I would listen to him that I remembered him saying, I'm always looking, I always look at, okay, I hear your understanding and I hear your point of view, right? The understanding that you might have about life or what your point of view is. But I always thought, okay, you're talking about marriage. You're talking about how certain women, they're past the time of marriage, they're past the time of this, or, after a certain age, or even marriages. But then I think, okay, but you're not married. Okay, but you're divorced. Okay, and so now, okay, so that's fine because people marry and people divorce, but can you produce people
Come on.
who you have coached, who are happily married because you understand what I'm saying?
Right,
Like,
because in other words, they
Exactly.
took what you said and applied it. And when you applied
and
it,
show
hey,
us,
we've come together as a unit and look at how we're doing. Look at what we're doing.
show us.
He told
And
us
I
to do this
Exactly.
as a person, and I did that, and I met him or met her, or we were together, but our relationship was messy. So now, because of what he told us, we have put ourselves and polished ourselves up, and we are just thankful for the things he told.
right.
We
And
didn't get
that
any of
Yeah.
that.
and we never did get that. But here's the other thing about that. It would have been very helpful if he was able to produce that on his podcast and have people on and to say this happened, we got married, thanks to Mr. Samuels and this, that, and the other, but we never seen any of that. So all we really had was his unsubstantiated word,
Exactly.
and we didn't trust him because he didn't have a lot of tact. Do you understand what I'm saying? He
Right.
had the
Absolutely.
image, but he didn't have the eloquence. I mean, he just didn't have what, he had enough to draw you in.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And then, but for me personally, he could not retain me. Of course, sometimes if I saw him, I would be interested in saying, okay, what is this guy saying today? You know what I mean? Or what is he
Right.
talking about? But, he didn't retain me for any amount of time. I quickly clicked off, but I will say that I listened long enough to understand that what he was saying was so demeaning. Some of the things that he was saying was extremely demeaning. And even if there was a modicum of truth to anything that he said, you quickly released that because of all the other things that was being said. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The rudeness and
Yeah,
the
the
vitriol and all of
attitude.
that.
It
Yeah.
was just like, you couldn't receive much of what he was saying because he was just so
Well,
shrewd.
Exactly.
which is why, I think the larger issue is, why are we on the internet getting love advice from these guys?
Right.
This other
That
guy.
are
I
divorced,
mean, this is
unmarried, tactless, just rude,
the Derek Jackson guy. What was
disrespectful.
he doing? He had some scandal.
Yes, I remember him. He
What are we doing? What are we doing,
Like
women?
I said, we follow bull crap and then we get offended when it starts, like they say, a hit dog will holler. You know what I mean? When it
Yeah.
starts hitting you and getting into your backyard, then, oh, he's nuts. He's this, he's that. Well, you started parading him and giving him all these accolades that he's speaking the truth. He's speaking the truth. In some instances, yes, I don't disagree with that. He was in some instances, but then there was a lot of time where he wasn't, and it was just like she said, someone with low self-esteem, those type of people, they could truly, truly fall into a real dark pit from the things that
Yeah.
he was saying, and especially if they found that they've had so many failed relationships or heartbreaks and all of these type of things. These type of podcasts are just set to destroy a person. And
Yeah.
even his daughter said in an interview, she said, yeah, my father was present in my life, but that was just physically. Emotionally, he was not there. Mentally,
mm,
he was not there. She
Doesn't
talked
sound like
about,
financially either.
yeah, she said he was not there. He was just there physically at times. She said that they had had some type of conversation and discussion, and this was as a grown woman. And she said he literally almost choked her. He grabbed her, pushed her up against the window, and was snatching her around. And she said, I tried to ask him, what did I do?
Wow.
Why are you doing this? So he had done this to his daughter. And of course, we only getting her side of the story. But even still, as a parent, why would you do that to your child? She
Wow.
said that the reason that she knew and was around her father much more than she would have thought had it not been for her grandmother, his mother. His mother was who was in her life and was keeping her in the family and keeping her around her
I
father,
can see
I
that.
guess, and seeing that. Otherwise, he probably would not have been there for her. And she was, she was very emotional on this particular conversation that I heard. And I really felt, wow, your father had all this, he was sitting in this big throne per se out here in the podcast world, and you don't really have a lot of good things to say about him. You couldn't even really eulogize your father and say my father may have been on a podcast saying this, that, and the third, but behind the scenes, he was a fantastic father. He was this for me. He did this.
Yeah,
You
right.
had none of that type of conversation in this talk that I heard. She
That's
just
sad.
That is.
it
That's
is.
Really
sad.
sad. That's really
Because
sad.
but it's interesting because I was watching an interview he did on Vlad TV. Vlad is a very
Oh, girl, Vlad is some
popular.
hot stuff. I was listening
Oh
to
yeah,
stuff
for
on
the
it
hip
last
hop
night.
world.
Oh,
Yeah, he's a journalist in the hip hop world.
I like
And
Vlad TV.
Kevin said,
I like it
huh?
too. You get some stuff, baby. I was watching some stuff last night with a friend of mine, and it was things that was coming out about the hip hop world that just blew me away.
Oh,
Yeah.
y'all was watching Vlad.
Yes, and I
I've
mean this
seen
was
a
some
few
stuff from
interviews.
years ago. This is
Yeah,
from years ago, and they were talking about. And I don't want to get off. This is a whole nother topic we need to get on with that Vlad about the hip hop world. But it was absolutely wow. I'm like, woo,
yeah, yeah.
this right here. And I mean,
And
these
I think he's a white guy. He's a
yes,
white guy.
yes. And these
Yeah.
conversations we were listening to had gone back as far as 2011. And they
Oh
were
wow.
absolutely yes, honey. Ooh, we gotta have coffee on that one. Matter of fact, that's an
Okay.
evening conversation. We need some wine. That's a wine one.
Yeah.
Ah,
Yes,
okay.
we got a wine one.
But I saw an
Margaritas,
interview that
maybe.
Kevin Samuels did on Vlad TV, and he was telling, okay, number one, okay, so let's get into this because I want to, when y'all talk about the daughter and all of that kind of stuff, it kind of makes sense to me if he did not have a good relationship or not the best relationship. We won't call it a bad one. We'll just and speculate on that it probably wasn't the best relationship. But he told Vlad that um, I think he studied chemical engineering, but I guess they found other people found out that he did not finish college, but he did study chemical engineering for however long he didn't finish. Then he got off into he worked for sales. He became sales. He
Yeah, I read that.
salesman for
That's
the Yellow Pages, something like that.
mm-hmm.
And then he started getting off into men's fashion, um, or whatever, and men's cologne. So when he initially started as a YouTuber, as a content creator, he was doing reviews of various colognes and telling men, like how you sometimes have daytime fragrances and evening fragrances and
Mm-hmm.
after five fragrances for certain fragrances you would wear. Like I used to what was the big thing if I was going to an after five event. I would wear like a white diamonds or something like that. You
Chanel or
might,
something. Yeah. A high.
yeah.
Oh,
So, but
okay.
anyway, he would do those types of things, and then he started giving fashion tips and basically just kind of stood outside of high-end clothing stores and introducing himself to people and meeting people and getting connected to people, and that's how he got started. So I'm not mad at his hustle and his grind, but
Right.
but in terms of his business acumen and his work ethic, I believe everything that I've heard is that his work ethic was impeccable. In fact, which is why he was always drinking Red Bulls on his show, which probably tore his heart up. Be
Mhm.
drinking
Mm-hmm.
them Red
Yeah, he
Bulls like
did.
that.
He was.
He was always drinking a Red Bull.
And
So,
I'm
but
telling you, you
he'd
50 some
also
years
be
old. Red Bull ain't the cocktail that you need to be dealing with.
you don't want to do it. You don't want to do it. So, but he had also beat Hodgkin's lymphoma,
Many years ago.
cancer in his 20s.
Yeah.
But one of the things that he said was that he was raised by his mom, single mom. He was the only child. His parents were not married. His father, he knew his father. His father would come around like sometimes for birthdays or Christmas. He didn't say all Christmases and birthdays, but some. And his father had upwards up to 10 other children by various women in the community. And
Hmm.
so Vlad asked him, was he in a relationship with his other siblings? And he says, I know some of them. And he kept repeating, I know some of them,
Okay.
like
Mm.
that. And so, and then this child that he has was from his first wife, who he referred to as his high school sweetheart. They were only married a year. He got married 6 or 7 years later to the second wife. They lasted about 3 years. So the point of it is that he had not successfully held down a relationship of his own. Going back to the whole premise of why we are in the drug. Listen, I would now the couple of videos that I did sit in on, and I'm like you, Nikki. I would sometimes run across his videos and turn it on for a little while to see what he's talking about,
Hmm.
laugh, because I kind of took it like for its entertainment value, not anything that I would. I just wouldn't have never took it to heart.
Right.
But regardless, um, what was I saying? He was people tuning in. Well, I lost my point, y'all.
You
Well,
were
I
What's my
think
saying,
the thing
point?
about it is, you're telling people what and how they need to be to try to have a relationship, and you couldn't do it yourself. So, in
yeah,
other
he,
words, you didn't walk the walk, you didn't talk the talk. You
yeah,
weren't
he didn't
Not at
have
practice
the,
all.
what you
he
preached
didn't
at
have the
all.
track record. Now,
Yeah.
here's the thing. There was this guy. So listen, there was this guy that got online and was talking about him, and it really opened up an online investigation into Kevin Samuels, and to prove that he was a fraud. And he really, really didn't like this guy. This guy really didn't like Kevin Samuels, and sought to reach out to his wife. Has anyone ever seen that where he?
Oh
There's a
no.
phone conversation that I heard that he had had with his wife. This is prior to his death. Now that I had seen this, and he was seeking to really, kind of damage Kevin, and to prove it by speaking with his wife or whatever. But I don't know exactly what happened, but the Kevin Samuels must have gotten to the wife, and she was elusive. She didn't really say
Mhm.
a lot on the phone, and I think it wasn't what the guy had anticipated. He was expecting more from her,
Right.
and
He
then
thought she was gonna come and just bring her all the nuggets to just pull him down, and she didn't do that.
she kind of got off the phone and everything, and it wasn't very successful. But I'm saying that to say that there were people who really wanted to cancel him. There's this other guy on Twitter. Um, when Kevin Samuels died, he put out a tweet, and he said that he pretty much said that it's no matter, just because he's dead, he was still a very awful person, and he tweeted that, and people were like, wow. But he said this man was someone who was very demeaning to women. And then Vivica Fox, she
Oh yeah,
also came and she said, well, you know
that's
what?
karma.
She said, oh,
Mhm.
well, he's gone on, and so be it, because he was awful. She had no good words to say about him. And I think that sometimes when people pass on, there are all the good things that we hear people say, about that person. You hear that this person was this and this person was that, no matter how we saw them live or anything like that. But I think people are coming out saying, just because he's passed, I'm not going to put flowers on his grave.
Right. In other words, they're not missing him at all.
I'm not going to put flowers on his grave.
Yeah,
Hmm.
it was very sad how just the how people responded to his death was just
Yeah.
a really really awful. Listen guys, I want to introduce this lady here. This is attorney Pam Rice-Campbell Esquire.
Hi,
She is a
Hi
Pam.
everyone, nice
longtime
to meet you.
attorney here in Detroit, and I watch her. Well, I became familiar with her watching the King Jive channel, and so she is local. She's here in Detroit, and I just want you to introduce yourself, Pam. And just give us a brief of who you are, and invite people to your channel, and all, and if they need you for services.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. Yes, as she said, my name is Pamela Campbell. I only add the Rice on there because I got married a little later on. So people knew me as Pamela Rice. But I am a local attorney here in the great state of Michigan, and I do a lot of different areas. Right now, I'm focusing on a lot of the election issues that are happening. And I focus on getting those wrongfully accused out of prison. So that's been another thing that I've been focusing on. But I've done criminal. I'll do family law. I do a lot of personal injury. So as far as auto accidents and things of that nature. So yeah, I'm pretty either myself or any of the people that contract to work with me. We do a lot of various areas. So if I don't do it personally, I'm sure I know someone that does. That's pretty much about me.
Thank
Well,
you.
good. Listen, and then let everybody know. Am I muted? Okay, good.
No, you're on.
Hope we
Yeah.
hear you.
Okay. And then let everybody know what your YouTube channel is, and then if you could chime in, really quickly on our topic, on the, just some whatever legal issues that you see going on behind the death of Kevin Samuels, but invite people to your YouTube channel.
Okay, my YouTube channel is just what it is on my little strip here. It's Pam Esquire, the Law Intellect. And I say that we discuss things from the neighborhood to Hollywood. So a lot of stuff I'll discuss, like the local things that are going on around us, but then I'll also discuss different things that are going on in tabloids, different cases. Try to break them down as easy as I can so people can understand them. And so it's Pam Esquire, the Law Intellect, and I would be happy to have you over there and to get your
Yeah.
comment.
Yeah,
Um,
really, really good stuff on her channel. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. As far as Kevin Samuel, I honestly don't really believe that he doesn't have money. I like some people do. I think that
Yeah,
because
that
of
yeah.
his legal issues, he's just smart enough. I guess you can say smart enough to try to, like, his house or his apartment he was in was sublet. Like he literally did not want to show what type of money that he had. And then I read the GoFundMe. I guess it was his sister or somebody that put it out there, and he took
I
care
don't
of his
know.
mom. Like, you can't take care of yourself and take care of somebody else if you're broke.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it may have been a way, because some people do try to take advantage of the fact that he was known and had all these followers, that they
Mm-hmm.
may have put that out there to try to keep the money coming in, because if the mom was being taken care of by him, who else is going to take care of the mom now that he's gone? So that
Right.
may have been a
Hmm.
reason, or it may just be that he's not as close to his family, so they just have no clue of
Right.
where his stuff is. And that's not unheard of either, what people have called me because somebody died, they had to go to their house, try to go through paperwork. Well, we see this account, but we don't have they didn't leave a beneficiary on the account, so you can't even see what's in the account. We see an envelope from Liberty Mutual Life Insurance, but we can't get information on it. It could be so many different things, because he probably just didn't really designate a specific person. If you're estranged from your daughter, that's usually the person you leave your stuff to. If you're a single person, it'll be the oldest child most of the time if they're of age. And then who are you really trusting in that capacity? Now, they may want to talk to, if he had accountants, whoever did his taxes, I would inquire into that. And then that would be a telltale sign of what was going on with them, because I'm sure YouTube's sending out some 1099s or whatever they done paid them.
Yeah. And the thing is when that attorney, what's his name, Darius or something, Spurry or whatever his name was, he may be the
Yeah, Dennis
person that's
Sterling.
through
Yeah.
some of his things, and maybe he said, "Look, I'm just gonna go ahead on and close this account out, or take this, or do this, and move on." And those type of things will happen too, just like you said.
Hmm.
And if he was an only child, he probably wasn't disclosing what was going on with him and his affairs to a sibling because he didn't feel like
Right.
he had one that he wanted to trust or he was even close enough to do that. So the attorney was his business partner slash friend because the thing that I heard was the attorney was saying, like, let's talk about the young lady that was there. So she did say she had just met him that night, which could very well be true. She may have just physically had met him that day before, but they had contact because supposedly, from what I was hearing, her brothers were huge fans of his. So his brothers were saying, "Hey, you need to meet my sister. You need to meet my sister." So that's how she became linked to him. And I guess as time had gone on, they decided, hey, well, I'm enjoying just talking to you on the phone and all of these things. Let's meet up personally in face. And she flew or whatever, came to Atlanta, and they got together. And regrettably, her first contact with this man, he died on her.
I
And
understand she was a nurse too.
well, they say that
Yeah.
she was a traveling nurse, but supposedly they've been doing all this investigation, can't find a license for her. And
Oh Lord.
Yeah. Oh, it's real deep.
And the
Right.
plot
Let me tell you
thickens.
something.
Right.
First
I'm
of
like,
all,
I haven't
you
even
got
heard
this
all
one
that.
YouTuber. First of all, you got this one YouTuber who dug up the child support, the paperwork. So that's how they know he just paid it off. I think, if I'm not mistaken, July of 2021. He just paid his child support off, according to those documents, on one YouTube channel. Then there's another YouTuber that said that they have checked in all 50 states. They cannot find her as a registered nurse. So they're thinking that her, the lawyer, and this other woman that he's connected to, that is a YouTuber as well, bumped him off. Like they're hoping. And I want to ask you about toxicology reports too, as well. But so you got that situation. And you were saying about her just meeting him. This other YouTuber found pictures of this very woman with his attorney from like 5 years ago.
Wow. I mean, that's
So they're saying they're lying about that she lied to the police that she had just met him the night before. They said it's a lie.
Well,
And
here's
they
the
have
thing.
the pictures.
Here's the thing. Now, I'm going to be very honest with you. When I first heard about this, and what I read initially was that what I read initially was that he had complained of his chest hurting and he fell over on her. That's what I had read initially, right? And I was
Right.
thinking to myself, were there drugs in the mix? You know, were they having a good time? You understand what I'm saying? Maybe what people consider partying. That's the first thing that came to my mind, was that were there drugs in the mix? Was there something that caused that to happen to him? Now, I didn't think that she had done it on purpose, but I was just thinking that
It could still be an accident.
when you hear about
Overdose.
people meeting someone, then they're coming, you meet them that night, they come back to the house, or by early morning that person is dead. Was that they maybe indulge in some things, you understand? And so that's what I was thinking initially.
Something, like you said, predicated it to get to him dying. But I guess my thing is if you are a nurse, she was saying that she was on the phone with the 911 operator and she was trying to say, well, we need to hurry up and
get the
somebody here.
address. She didn't know the address.
Well, I can
the
see
apartment
that.
number. The apartment
Right,
number.
I can get that. But my thing is, you panic when things happen. But then why didn't she get up and say, well, let me look out the door and see if there's a number on here? Let me, you weren't trying to me see what to do. But supposedly he was still alive when she was on the phone. But she said he's turning blue. He's doing this. I need a DB something. She was calling it, which is a defibrillator. But if you are a nurse, you could have just started administering CPR, chest compressions, doing something to try to open up his airway to breathe, ripping his clothes off, giving him an aspirin underneath his tongue to constrict his blood vessels.
Open up those blood vessels. Yeah.
Those are the type of things that I think if you were a nurse, you would have tried. I mean, I'm not a nurse, but I know a few things to think that if I come across something like this, what would I do? What would you do when you come across a stroke victim? What are the things that you want to do? How and why would you be in a medical profession, but you couldn't even do some of the simple tactics to save him? Yes, she was saying, think about your daughter, think about your mother, these type of things to try to give him encouragement to try to hang on. But what were you doing other than being on the phone trying to get a 911 assistance?
She was saying that to him?
Yeah,
Yes.
that was one of the issues
Yeah.
I had with the whole 911 thing. Is to me, she was way too panicky for her to deal with this on a regular basis. So if you deal with this on a regular basis,
You would not have been
you
right. You're
shouldn't have been as
absolutely right.
panicked as she was. Secondly, I've had to do like the Heimlich or CPR, and you're tired. Like if you're really doing the CPR on somebody, you get
Yes.
exhausted.
It's
But she
That's
didn't
why
exhausting.
do
they'll
the
tell you to
CPR.
have
Yes.
more than one
It looks
Out of
like
person.
she didn't
breath.
do it.
And she was not out of breath. That's the
No.
first thing I noticed. I said, "Oh, there's no way," because that was like
I said
years
the
ago
same
when I
thing.
had to
Is she
do it when I
really
was
giving
younger.
him CPR?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
what made me think with the 911. It's like, okay, a defibrillator is cool, but in the interim, you need to like do what you were taught to do. At least do some chest compression. There was no
Exactly. I
way
mean,
she was
who
doing it. There was no
always is
way.
going to have a defibrillator available for you to go ahead and say, okay, I got a defibrillator.
Right.
Now let's do it. No way. No ways.
you
This
know, this is really something that, because
is it Red Bull
when
and Viagra.
when you administer
Might be.
CPR, when you're
Uh-huh.
administering any type of life-saving measure that you are using, not only is it exhausting, it's tiring. You're physically tired, right? But even mentally, to be panicked like that, it's not so much of a panic. It's more of a, I'm trying to do this. You're more serious than panic to me. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yeah.
Especially if you are a nurse, which means you're a lifesaver, right? They're trained not to panic.
Right.
Right.
They're
The same
trained.
thing as a 911 operator when they get a phone call. You can't react to every single call that comes to you. Like, oh my God, they've been shot. Oh my God, you cannot
Yeah.
do that. You are trained, like you
No.
said, to withhold those type of emotions and to deal with the facts of the situation and provide a resolution. That's what you're
Yeah.
done. And she did not. She was like, I don't know if I'm in a house. You don't know if you're in a house or an apartment. You don't
Yeah.
know the difference. But
She
you,
must have been real lit when she got up there to that apartment.
I mean, totally. I mean,
Yeah, but
totally.
see that, yeah, that gives credence to the whole idea that there very well could have been
Hmm.
cocaine involved or anything.
Well,
This thank you, E. You are
But
she's
my
adding some very good points to the
yeah.
Yeah,
conversation.
I mean, and
She
then
says,
she said,
I'm assuming it's a female, Red Bull and Viagra. Well, we
yes.
certainly know that he was always drinking Red
Red
Bull.
Bull.
That
But
is
let's
a
Yeah.
say
fact.
this: when she asked about getting a defibrillator for the front desk, then my thing is this: why didn't you run your tail down there and ask for it? It could
Man,
not have
listen.
taken. I don't know. I don't know if you were in a high rise and you had to wait and get on an elevator. That could be 4 5 minutes, and he died. I don't know. But like you said, if you are a trained professional medically, why wouldn't you do the first thing, which is initiate CPR chest compressions? That should have been the very first thing that you should have been doing.
Mhm.
Then you holler. Now, while you're doing that, you could have been taking your phone and putting it on speaker 911 and been talking and doing, I'm doing chest compressions. I'm doing it. None of
Hmm.
that was happening. And then, like you said, the
Right.
franticness that was involved in it. She did not have a cool head, and she wasn't,
Yeah,
able to
no
get through that
professional
call.
decorum at all.
Yeah,
No.
none.
And
So
then she's saying like who he is, like everybody knew who Kevin Samuel was. It's Kevin
Right.
Anthony Samuel. It's
He
like,
YouTube famous.
okay.
yeah, like okay. If you'd have said that to me on the phone,
I'd
I'd
have been like, and
yeah, exactly.
And
You
that's
didn't say
pretty much what
Denzel
they
Washington.
said.
And that
You didn't
means
say
what exactly?
right. You didn't say no Denzel Washington or
right.
who you talking about? Kevin Samuels.
She would have did better giving them the name of the postman.
Right. Exactly. Sure.
So I want to ask Pam about the toxicology. Now, when you start dealing with in terms of what, because I believe that the family has to request a autopsy. Is that how it works?
If
And
there's a
then
suspicious death, they typically will do.
that's what I want to know.
Yeah, if there's a suspicious death, then they'll do it on their own volition. But if not, if it's like natural causes, you kind of have to stop them and tell them you want to do your own autopsy or you want to do your own toxicology.
But the
And
thing
natural deaths are considered a lot more than what we think. So I just had a client who needed to get some DNA type stuff, and it was from COVID mixed up with a lot of stuff. And I thought they would do autopsies on that. And they were like, nope, never came here to the medical examiner. It went straight, the body went straight to the funeral home. So they don't even always go to the medical examiner.
Yeah, and my thing is first of all, with his situation, from what I've heard, listening to the local news here in Atlanta, honestly, they have not been talking about that situation locally on the news at all. It has not been anything.
Oh no,
not at all. So if that
T.I., no,
the police
no, not at all.
The police would not. They haven't ruled it and said that it's a murder investigation. If there's any foul play involved, so with those type of things going on, I know it appears that the local beings are not looking into this as it being foul play or a death, a murder or anything like that. They're not doing anything from what I've heard.
If you really think about it though, this guy, and I don't, I want to be careful with what I say, but this guy to me was to me an illusionist, in many ways, and you never saw him with celebrities. Do you know what I mean? And in Atlanta, when you have a huge YouTube following, such as he did, and you're known, Atlanta is the place to be. You can
and he was not on any of the.
He was not on to anyone. You know what I mean? And
none of the show, none of the like you said, type of events and things that would come on. They wouldn't say, "Hey, look, guys, we got Kevin Samuels here." Like I'll give you an example, like Nene Leakes when she opened up her club. But you know who was at her opening of her club? Kwame Kilpatrick. But not Kevin Samuels. And Kwame's been in Atlanta, since his release. And he's been on a few different things and never seen Kevin Samuels at anything. He hasn't showed up at anybody's nothing.
Even on his pages, on his YouTube, Instagram pages, you never see it. You know what I mean? And that's kind of like here's the thing, that's kind of like a sign of a co-signer. You know what I'm saying? Or someone who can, really vouch for you or say, you know what I mean? I remember I was looking one time on one of his pages, I believe it was Instagram. And what's the singer's name? She's not coming to me right now, but she's a writer, and Carrie Hilson.
Oh, Carrie Hilson.
She would comment on his pages and interact with him a lot. I've seen that. I saw that one time, and she was commenting on his pages and stuff and commenting on some of the things that he said. But I just didn't really see him with, too many people. So I don't really know how people felt about him.
Okay, so one of the people here, she said he was supposed to appear in an episode of Atlanta. And
is that a real show?
Yeah, Atlanta is a real show. It's by what's that singer's name?
Yeah, Kim is saying the same thing. She said it's on A&E.
It was actually FX. It was actually FX's series Atlanta. FX.
Yeah, it's on FX. Yes, that series Atlanta. And I don't know if that's what she's actually referring to, if that would be the show that he was going to be on or not. But then, like you said, there was a lot of stuff that goes on in Atlanta and never have even known. And I'm going to tell you, when I've heard his name here lately, I didn't even know he was from Atlanta. I thought he was, from Hollywood, California. I never knew he was here in Atlanta. But again,
he was based in Atlanta. He was from Oklahoma, though, I believe.
He was. He was.
Yeah, I believe he was from Oklahoma. So, Pam, I want to ask you, do you see any other legal angles in terms of, because you got the conspiracy theory surrounding his death, that there may have been, because I think what some of the YouTubers are looking at is, him growing so fast, because he just started his YouTube channel in 2016.
Okay.
He went viral in 2019 when he did a video called Average at Best, where he was telling women, that was the first video he did, where he was telling women, you cannot attract a high value man if you're if you don't have the right height. High value men want taller women. They want slimmer women. They want certain facial features and the face to be structured a certain way. And he had all of this thing. And I want to talk about this whole idea and concept of the high value man as well. Even women who were financially six-figure income women, he still did not even deem them necessarily
No.
high value women if they didn't look a certain way.
Or if
He's
they
saying
had
that those
kids.
type of men want a trophy looking women.
Or if
It's
they
really
had
right.
kids, he would devalue you if you had kids and you weren't with obviously the person you had
Oh
kids
yeah, and the kids, yes.
Mm-hmm.
He is saying that the white woman he was renting, the white woman he was renting from, recorded him removing cardboard for leaking oil
From his
from
BMW.
his BMW. Wow.
Well, I had a BMW. They can get quite expensive.
Oh, they always have more
Yeah.
problems. I got one. Listen, I got an X5 in my driveway right now.
Listen, I leased it when that lease was up. I think they were like, "You want to? I can't not with these
No.
potholes in the state
And
of
because
Michigan."
of what I've heard people say about a BMW, I decided not to get one.
Let me tell you, in electrical problems, they have oil problems and they have electrical problems.
Yeah, they
Listen,
definitely
and
have
you
electrical problems.
in Michigan, you hit these potholes. It's like $350 per tire, and you're
Yes,
gonna
it
get one
is.
almost
Oh yeah.
every month. The light, they build the car where almost everything from a light bulb, like if your headlight goes out, you have to go to the dealership. They have to lift your engine. So they're gonna charge you for all of that because of the work. They've made it where it's hard for you to get to anything, so you can't do anything by yourself.
Oh
Or get
yeah,
your
the
mechanic.
battery is in the trunk.
Yeah, they do
Battery is
everything
in the
so
trunk.
crazy that you
Um,
have to go there and they charge you $1,000 for a light. I mean, it was crazy.
Absolutely.
I was like,
It's
yeah, I'm not
crazy
about
the
this
way the
life.
car is made. And then you can't, if there's no power, you can't get in the car. You got to bust your windows to get in the car
Yeah, that's
because,
ridiculous.
it doesn't have the, listen, I'm telling
They
you,
made it
So,
where
even the
you
but
need that
remote doesn't
dealership.
work.
one of the things that E said, she said, but he's a high value man though.
Right.
Is that what he
Yeah.
labeled himself?
He's a high value man, but he got to put a cardboard underneath his leaking BMW. You
Yeah.
know?
But this goes back to what I was saying in terms of us as women. Why are we on, going to these half-baked people to get our love advice, our relationship advice?
Exactly.
Because I mean, the fact of the matter is, okay, there are certain statistics that prove some of the things that he was saying. Older men do like younger women. These things are true. So I didn't get offended by that kind of stuff because he just basically vocalized what's actually been going on
Yeah,
anyway.
that's
He
not
came with
news.
statistics often.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
came with statistics.
Yeah, so I mean, I didn't get offended by that.
Yeah, I can't say I
What it
did
is.
either.
Right. But again,
And
it goes back to that if a hit dog will holler. That's
Mhm.
yeah, I
goes
mean,
right back to that.
well, one of the problems I think that we have as Black women is that we are the last to marry outside of our race.
Yes.
Every other race will marry a listen, even if they come from racist backgrounds and everything else, if they got to marry a Black man and take him home, they will do it to
Yeah.
have a husband.
Mhm.
I'm
And I
not
agree
saying
with you
that
there.
is the thing
I
to do just
agree.
to be married, but I mean,
Yeah,
it is
we're
what it is.
very
Black
guarded.
women have been
Yeah, we're very
so
guarded
loyal
on
to Black
staying
men.
right. We're very guarded with staying within our race, and we don't explore people to come into our lives that may not be what we are, and that's just the way we are. That's I definitely understand that.
And I
But
think that the thing about some of the things that he said, that's why I said there was a modicum of truth to some of the things that he said, right? But
Yeah.
I think the problem with his whole method was that he gave so many absolutes. His
Mhm.
the things that he said just had so much finality to it. You know what I mean? And it was just always to me gloom and doom.
Mhm.
You know, and there was never an upside to
Right.
Right.
his comments or his feedback or anything, and that was, I think, what was so cringing
Yeah.
about it. And to speak to your point, Deb, about when he went viral, he sort of came out the gate with this putting women on scales. Like if you
Yeah.
were either a Beyonce,
That
or if you were
grade, he
Rihanna,
had a
you were
grading
a number
system.
9 or you were 8. And
Right.
I mean, like he did these, and so these were things like you're putting this out there, and it just seemed like, well, where are you getting this from? And nowadays, the word on the street is receipts, and it's like, well, where are your receipts at? You know what I mean?
My
Right.
understanding was that he started out talking to men, I guess, and that was his
Yeah.
biggest thing was men. And then women started saying, "Well, you help the men out, so why don't you tell us about ourselves?"
Ask
And that's
for it.
kind of how he switched over. So it's kind of like, how do
Mhm.
you blame him to that magnitude when you come
Right.
and you call in and you put
Mhm.
yourself on there, not knowing how the presentation is going to be, if
Yes,
he's going to, did you know how he is? So there's just no way I would
absolutely.
even subject
Yeah.
myself to
Why
that.
would you even call into the show? And they were not only
Yeah.
calling into the show, but they said they were estimating that he was making upwards of $10,000 a show just from super chats. That means
Oh
while
wow.
he's live on the air, these women that he's insulting are literally sending him money in real time.
And he's
And
not
that
sending
money
it
was
back.
coming in droves. What you say, Pam?
He's not sending it back either. He wasn't saying
And
like, give your money.
Right.
at
It
this
was going to
at
his
this
child
point, they can't
support.
even
Listen.
find the money. Where the money at?
Not only
Right.
that, Instagram was paying him because of the engagement.
Oh
Mhm.
yes,
So he
that's
was
what I'm saying. They think that he was making about $100,000 a month. So
easy,
between the two
easy.
platforms. So okay, so one of the things that beside one of the issues with the conspiracy theory is that this attorney and some women that were around him, they are saying that they essentially wanted to take his spot. And and what you're seeing now happening is a lot of, because of course he's passed away, so they're picking up his subscribers and all of this kind of stuff. And I mean, that's a very real threat when you because um um they were saying that there were some YouTubers who really wanted him gone,
Oh, they
because
were.
he
They
surpassed
signed a
them so
petition.
quickly.
But people are still, these videos aren't going anywhere. So it seems like his family should be still opening up some form of an estate so that all
Hmm.
That's
those
what I
good
wanted to
YouTube
ask you.
checks
Yes.
will go to them. And that's why this whole GoFundMe thing is just baffles me. I'm like, no, he probably got a million views on something the day he died, and he's
Right.
entitled to that money. So
That's
open up
right.
an estate, have it go to the estate, and then you guys are gonna have plenty of money talking about it's for his child. He didn't take care of that child when he was alive. Now you want the whole
Right.
world to
And
take
this
care of
and
the
his
child?
child is a grown woman.
What
So
are you talking
you're
about?
responsible for
Wait a
supporting and
minute.
taking
And
care of
Maybe
herself.
her children. Maybe her children.
but
Well,
Yeah.
whoever did that GoFundMe, they probably was doing it so they could just get the money.
but you know what?
Exactly.
And let me just say, but that's why it's important to know an attorney, because
Yeah.
nobody really would have thought about that.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean? But he's
He's
still
actually probably
entitled.
gonna make more money dead than he
He's
did
still
alive.
Look at
entitled.
Exactly.
Michael
That
Jackson's
is a
attorney
good
only
point.
needs Michael Jackson as the client, and he's dead. Elvis's
Wow.
attorney only needs Elvis as running his estate, and Elvis has been dead forever.
Yes.
Because of how much money their estate, they
Wow.
end up being worth more dead than alive. Same
And
thing with
that's
Prince. All of them are worth more. Everybody downloads and they stream and they do whatever when they pass away. All of their
That is so
memorabilia is
true.
worth a quadrillion dollars more than it was when they were alive. They literally have to. They don't have to take any more clients. Like that's the biggest lick of an attorney of all times. You literally don't have to. All you do is run their estate.
Well, like my old pastor used to say, don't
Wow.
let your death be a blessing to the church. And then,
You know what?
But this is a very good point. And I remember some years
wow.
ago reading, I don't know, was it a Forbes or something, like it was one of them type of things like the Forbes list or something. And oh, she's saying DMX. 12 Bells is saying DMX also. Yeah. Probably
really?
making more money
Oh
dead
heck
than he did
yeah!
alive.
Remember,
Mhm.
Uh
DMX had so many issues, and I knew DMX. He had so many issues that he blew money. He had But now he don't have the ability to do so. So everybody that's that's making
Yeah.
money every time they stream, download, whatever, that's going to his estate. You're gonna make more money because he's not spending anything.
Wow.
That
That is
habit is
Absolutely.
not being, he had that habit that would be on and off and on. He was doing good the last year or
yeah.
two. We had that habit on and off or whatever. He blew money. Like when I first met DMX, I was in Chicago in law school, and he was literally at the bar bound. Everybody drinks, food. He spent so much money just sitting there. He didn't know us from a can of paint until we had a conversation.
Wow.
So the fact that they just blow money like that and get the money or whatnot, they're not worth a lot when they're alive. And then he went to jail for taxes. He didn't have the
Yeah.
money to pay his taxes, so we know that he
Yeah.
didn't have much. But
Yeah.
now his estate is probably grown. That's why everybody was fighting to be the representative over it.
Absolutely.
Oh,
Yes.
wow.
And
Yeah.
that is
But
so
I
crazy.
remember seeing in like a Forbes magazine some years ago, that the highest paid, the person who had made the most money that year, so it wasn't Forbes, it was something else. But regardless, Michael Jackson had made the most money that year. He had been dead for like 5 or 6 years at that point,
Yes.
and he was still making more money than functioning active artists. You
Because I
know.
know people that tried to go to Michael Jackson's attorney to get him to represent them because you want the best, you go to the best, but you better come with 6 figures just to talk to
Yes.
him because he
Mhm.
doesn't
Right.
need to
Yeah.
do anything. So you
He's
have to make it
making
worth his
money.
while.
That's right. He's making money
Yeah.
off of a dead person.
Yeah.
Like
Like
you
you
better
said,
come with something. That
Yep.
oh
said,
my
I don't
God.
need you. I said, I
Wow.
don't need you. I'm doing you a
Oh,
favor. And you
listen.
paying for
Oh
my
God.
expertise now.
Because
So
I hit one of those licks, she gonna say, Pam, what do you do? I'm like, nothing. All I do is run their estate. That's it. Not taking
yeah,
no new clients. I'm on the beat.
right. Like you said,
Listen,
I have enough to
Pam,
do
you'll
trying
give
to
me
work this
a good
estate.
referral.
No, I,
Mm-hmm.
Oh
I
my
hear you.
goodness.
I ain't mad at you. You
Listen.
hit one of those licks, then, like you said, you
Hey,
have arrived.
yep,
But
I
I'm
you
listen.
done. I'm
I'm
like
trying to
taking the
tell you.
website down. They be like the law and just call me Pam. You ain't
Right.
gotta say
Like you said,
Esquire
I
no
have
more. I'm
arrived. I'm done. Thank you very
I know
much.
that's right.
Mm, mm,
Wow.
mm.
It's very interesting. I think that we have to look at what we what we do as women. I was looking at the time. It's 12:20. We're gonna wrap it up. And what we're doing as women, I think this is very important to really look at this. And y'all notice that most of the relationship gurus, as far as giving women advice, are always men.
Yeah.
What is it? We don't listen to each other or something. We
Well,
don't
here's the
want to
thing.
hear what another woman has to say.
Here's the thing that I do believe. I do believe that if you want to know about a man, you need to speak with a man. That's
Right.
what
I
I do
agree.
I
believe.
agree, but they're all turning out to be busters.
But I was just gonna say, but you gotta speak to the right
yeah, they
man,
faking it. They not even real with
yeah,
it. Look at Jackson.
you
Yeah.
gotta speak to the right guy for sure.
Yeah.
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 I
Yeah.
agree. Like you said, they coming
Well,
out
like,
here and they ain't nothing but some clowns. Nothing but some
oh
clowns.
man. Yeah. Now TD Jakes, when he did the Woman Thou Art Loose, when he started that, that was really good and a huge, huge, huge blessing to women. I would
Yeah.
even venture to say that the books that Steve Harvey put out were really good and
Mhm.
informative in a lot of ways, and he came from the angle of kind of, I guess,
Well, the
uncovering
first book.
some male secrets or something like
Yes,
that.
I was going to say the book was exactly what he said it was. Think like a man,
Yeah,
but act like a lady. And I'll be perfectly
yeah,
honest, even before his book, I did follow that a lot. And and a lot of gentlemen that I knew not being involved with or anything, but just as friends, they's like, dang, if I can get my woman to think and act like you, I'll be da da da. Because a lot of
hmm
times we don't understand and we don't think about the male's point of view on different things. Because I always had a big thing about women that turn out here and get pregnant and then get mad when the guy doesn't respond the way you want him to. Well, first of all, did you even talk to this guy and say you wanted to have children? Did he say he wanted
Exactly.
to have children? Did he want to have children with you? He earns that
Well,
respect.
that's just plain old trap trying to trap
Yeah.
somebody.
And they don't
Yeah.
understand that, why is he so upset? He knew he wasn't using protection. He knew this, he knew that. Yeah, well, he was having fun, and yes, he was at the party too. But at the same time, were these discussions? Did you talk about this with them? Is this something that you guys really thought, if this happens, this is what we're gonna do? No, because again, I know we get caught up in the moment of the thing, but when it turns out and it comes back out, a lot of guys are not saying, I want to have a baby. It's the woman that wants to have the baby. The man usually does not, because that's not what they're looking for. So don't be upset about that. And he used to, a lot of guys used to be like, I wish women would think more about that, because I didn't want to have no baby. The child is here. Yeah, I got to take care of it, but that wasn't who I was choosing to be my child's mother. So
right. And I was just going to say that too.
Part of that too is, I think that we as women always, it seems like we always have to conform to fit with what they need or whatever. And some of these men, they need to change. Like, period.
I mean, I don't disagree with that too.
Yeah.
Because they want their cake and ice cream and want to eat it too. There's a lot of that. But then you got to stand back and realize and look at what you really want and if that's how you want it, then you need to lead it that way. I'm not gonna be, like, you can't get a guy and then, act like a wife and you just a girlfriend, or you're just somebody he kicking it with, and then when it flips out to something else, now you're mad because you don't put the cart before the horse.
Well, that's a good way to run them out of there. If you just the girlfriend and you start acting like a wife, that's a good way to run them off.
No. What I mean by that is What I mean by that is you're cooking all the time and saying, "Hey, well, come."
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, they ain't gonna be running
off. Run them off. They gonna
come and get that food.
Listen, let me tell y'all. Listen, I understand what y'all saying. It used to be a time when you could dazzle them with how well you can go into a kitchen and put a meal together and all of that kind of stuff. But now these men, they don't seem to care about stuff like that. Hey, Peggy.
Hey, everyone.
Hello.
She's an author and poet. She was on the show, has a very powerful story, Pam. If you get a chance, check out her video that's on my channel. Her son suffered with mental illness and died in the Oakland County jail. Very suspicious.
I remember that story.
And she's a phenomenal poet. Also has a YouTube channel. Pam is a local attorney here in Michigan with us. She's here in Michigan with us as well, Pam. But Attorney Pam is in Michigan with us. She does criminal law.
No, I don't do criminal no more.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Don't do that one.
No, I do a lot of personal injury. I do a lot of stuff in federal court, so police misconduct, different constitutional amendment violations. I've been doing lately wrongful convictions, trying to get exonerations, that type of realm right now. But yeah, I pretty much done some of everything at some point. But yeah, with criminal, I usually refer those out because they like to go to court every day, and I done got used to being on Zoom now. So
yes.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, we can hear you. We can hear you. I want to get your comments in a second, but I want to read something from the comment section. 12 Veils. Hi, 12 Veils. She says, I don't think that American society teaches gender issues properly. We still have movies that sexualize rape. You mean make rape, what do you call it? Good morning to all the panelists. Good morning.
Good morning.
And she's saying rest in peace to your son as well, Peggy. She's saying that she doesn't think that American society teaches gender issues properly. Does anybody have anything to say about that?
Since I'm new, let me interject. I want to just, I had to go, but I listened at the beginning and I'm back. You all brought some interesting points up with Kevin Samuels. with him rating women, let's say on a scale 1 to 10, it's a lot of colorism in our community. And he was not talking about relationships of substance. He was close to my age. I'm 61. He was what, 56, 57 with a
Right.
30-year-old. So he wasn't talking about relationships with substance. Let's say if it was a woman
True.
that was better for him, that was closer to his age, what is he teaching? What was he teaching young men? Someone on your panel brought up Michael Jackson, Prince, chasing this illusion. And I like money too, but do it bring us peace? So I just want to say that. And also, the only what I could see that was positive from him is that, with it is harder when women have children to find suitable husband. I was a divorcee with 4 children, so I would not have a channel and give advice that I wasn't living or have no knowledge of. So,
Yeah.
so when he was saying that, I think that was a positive from his conversation about it is harder for women with children to find a good husband. I wasn't offended by that, but the scale of, to me, it was all about hair and light skin, as far as him rating women, and I
Weight.
didn't. Yeah, I thought there was a lot of colorism in his comment.
His
Mhm.
So
messaging. Yeah.
yeah,
Good point. Yeah.
It was, and not only that, to speak, you are so right, Miss Peggy, because let me just say this: not only colorism, but even image, and he called
Yes.
himself an image
Mhm,
consultant.
mhm,
Yes.
mhm, mhm.
And he really, if you had, if he, one of the things he asked when he interviewed you, how much do you weigh? How tall are you? So he was saying things like you said, no substance. It was just the superficial, the
Right.
outward
Yeah.
thing,
Exactly.
and if you did not line up to this methodology or this thing that he had, you were doomed.
He was
Mm.
only interested in trying to say, you need to look like a trophy wife. You need to look like this in order to attract a man. And I mean,
Yeah.
that is not necessarily true. I mean, it may be in some instances, no doubt about it. But there were some men, they don't care how pretty you are. Because like Steve Harvey said a
Oh
long
yeah.
time ago, he said, you pretty and lonely. Why you by yourself if you so pretty and you so this?
Listen, let me
And he
tell
said
you
pretty
something.
and crazy. They could be pretty and crazy. He says, I cross that
Absolutely.
a whole lot.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I have a bunch of brothers. I have 7 brothers total, 5 living, and I can tell you, men have been known to specifically choose very beautiful girls just to dog them out.
Mm.
And it was like a notch on their belt.
Mm.
I mean, it would always be some really, 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 really pretty girl. And they would dog them out, and I'd be like, what are y'all doing? She's gorgeous or whatever. But some men, I mean, it's just so crazy. But it goes back to what you all were saying earlier. I think Pam made the comment. Attorney, I like to call her Attorney Pam. Put some respect on her name.
Oh, no, you're fine.
Uh, but what I think Attorney Pam made the comment that we're always making the adjustments for men, but they need to make changes for us as well.
Right.
Even when we look at the scriptures where it talks about when if a man finds a wife, he finds a good thing and obtains favor with the Lord. That's one part of it, but they find us, but we choose them. That's
Yeah.
the way that's supposed to go.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I think that's an issue too. How we like you said, Peggy, put value these to me unrealistic values on ourselves. It puts more pressure on a woman because value has nothing to do really with how you look at all. Because
Right.
beauty is in the eye of the beholder,
Yeah.
which again
Exactly.
is why I don't understand why so many women was even listening to this crap.
Right.
Because
Exactly.
there are some, even if you're 300 pounds, there is some skinny man, most
That
likely,
love him. Yep.
that
That's impressive.
loves them a big
Adore
fluffy
you.
girl.
Yes, will adore you.
Yes,
Right.
I mean, there are men
And
that
then
are
And
totally
vice
into
versa.
big
yeah,
women.
and exactly. And then there's the old adage of saying, hey, you get somebody that's less attractive than you are, that's gonna love you to death, just so that you know that you're gonna be fine and taken care of, but you may not be attracted to them. But they're taking care of you and doing everything you want. And I thought, I don't want to look at somebody that I'm not attracted to. And it doesn't necessarily mean physically looking at them and they're unattractive. That does play into it. But you want to look at the other pieces of the puzzle too, how they're treating you. What are they doing to make you feel good? What's going on
Right.
when you wake up in the morning and you see and you're with that person? Can you guys have a conversation without saying, it's early in the morning, don't say nothing to me, give me, you have to take all those things. Can you wake up in the morning to that person and say, oh, hey, good morning, have a good day, whatever, instead of having all of these other things going on in your head, thinking, oh my God, I can't believe I'm still dealing with this person,
Right.
because
with Mr. Samuels, one of the things about him that was really interesting is he said he didn't really want to date anyone his age, that he was interested in 25-year-olds and between 25 and a certain age. And that's because they're impressionable.
yes.
Yeah.
And they don't see
They're
through his,
easy to be molded at that
exactly.
age.
And they don't see through his
Exactly.
foolishness.
Yeah.
They
This
don't
is
see his
what
foolishness
12 Bells is saying. 12 Bells is saying many of his followers were interested in 20-year-olds that served them like maids from the Philippines. She's
right.
absolutely
They
correct.
wanted very submissive women. They wanted very
KS
submissive
point
women.
was that American women were all feminists and highlighted non-American females that cater to the king. Yeah, see, all of this is foolishness. Then
Yeah.
she says he was highlighting how, quote, black women over talk men and bring nothing to the table. See, this is some chauvinist stuff.
Yeah.
Exactly. Because when you're trying to say, first of all, as a woman, me bringing something to the table, technically, yeah, in a lot of ways, you do need a 2-income household. But from the old school adages of it, when I think about my grandmothers and aunties and stuff like that, they didn't work. Their husbands worked and they brought the check to the table and they took care of the home. But do you think my grandfather or my uncles devalued their wives? Heck no. They brought those checks home, gave them to
Put
the
them
wife.
on that table, said, give me the $20.
Right. That's right.
That's how my
right.
grandparents
$20.
And Deborah, you had mentioned earlier about our men do need to be built up, and I have put in the comment section, not at the expense of black women.
Right.
And as far as over talking our men, we can be the goddess and still watch our attitudes. I would take the good of whatever men say and not over talk them and watch the attitude. It's not what we do, it's how we do it. And one way we can build our men up and our daughters and our sons is let them know that they are the image and likeness of God, no matter, as we were stating, how they look.
Yes.
It's not just physical, it's the spiritual aspect of a woman that we are bringing to the relationship also.
You have value
Absolutely.
because of that. You have value because of that alone.
Yeah.
Right. And I mean, like you said, when he's talking about the fact of women over talking men and different things like that, the thing about it is understand us as a woman and how far back we had to go to even be able to pull ourselves to be able to use our independence, because we've been devalued ever since we've pretty much been on the earth. White men have been raping and going back and disregarding black women since their creation, literally, not giving them any type of respect as being a human being. You don't have any thoughts, you don't have an opinion, don't talk, don't do this, don't do that. Well, as a person, as a human being and an individual, I should have a voice. I should be able to discuss and say things to you and you not be thinking that I'm being disrespectful to you because you're a man and why I gotta wait my turn and all of these type of things. Yeah, those are some cultures that may have that, but in the true identity of the American woman, it's not there. That's not what we are. A lot of times we end up having to take over and do things because the man can't do it. They don't know how to do it. So the woman ends up having to step up and be that big person in a relationship. And I don't think they all are disrespecting their partner or mate if that's the case. But you think that because she says something that you don't like, oh, she's a big mouth. Oh, she ain't this, or she's disrespectful. I wouldn't have you. Well, I wouldn't have you. Let's think about it like that, you
And
know?
you're so right. It's a fine line. It's a fine line that we have to walk where we could, and we have to take over without belittling the man or belittling him, making him feel small, based on if we are doing more. So it's the delivery, and like I said, it's another channel called Alpha Male. He's kind of like a Kevin Samuels, and I listen because I want to know what they're thinking and what they're talking about. So I agree with you. We had to be strong, and I know from experience, yes.
It goes back to men being out of their place as well. I do think that American women can be problematic in general, because again, we've had to step into, and particularly in the black community, because we've had to step into places of authority and headship and leadership that was never intended for
Yeah.
us. And
Right.
so, because women have been elevated to positions of power and stuff like that, it does create a conflict. Besides men that are intimidated by women who make more money than them and all of that, you got that issue. But I'm saying, just in general, if you have a very powerful woman who just has an average working husband, it's going to be very hard for her to be in a position of power and navigate those waters in a professional environment and come home and just turn it off and be submissive to a man.
Right.
So what Peggy is saying is right. It can be problematic. But I think that 12 Bells is dropping some really good information about the Manosphere. This was a group of men that exists on YouTube. Have you heard of them, Pam? Attorney
I have
Pam?
not. No.
Yeah, they're
There is a sector, what they call sectors on YouTube,
mhm,
and this one sector is called Manosphere.
which is toxic
Uh,
masculinity. It can
Okay.
be
is
viewed as toxic
it
masculinity.
could be viewed as toxic masculinity, and it's a group of them
Mhm.
that they get together and they have these events in different places, of which Kevin Samuels was the head of this quote unquote manosphere. And he didn't create that term, it came from another culture. I don't know if
Mhm.
it was the French culture or somewhere, yeah, she's absolutely right. They would have these events. Well, yes, he did. That's why they called him the Godfather. He was the leader of this quote unquote YouTube sector called the Manosphere.
I always wonder why they call him the Godfather. I'm like, where did
That
that
is,
Yeah, I
yeah,
wondered about
that
that
is
too.
very
I
so
thought
true.
that was loosely coined. I
She's
did.
saying these men don't want females to lead in any area in society, and say that the problem is the black woman. Yeah, see, that's why I'm saying there were a lot of people who really felt that Kevin Samuels was dangerous.
Mm.
Like, we're talking about things that where we're saying, okay, some of the things that he said, he was on point, but I didn't like his delivery. No, there are some people that said he was dangerous
Well, he
in
reminded
the
me of someone
community.
who just didn't like women.
Yes,
He really
exactly.
reminded me of someone
It
who
could
did
have
not
been.
like women. And I'm not speaking
Yeah,
about his sexuality.
and what
I'm
we
speaking
It could have
more or
been.
less of I want to be clear when I say I'm not speaking of his sexuality. I'm
no,
speaking to the extent that did he have mommy issues?
Or
Did
Yeah,
even
he
his
did he
divorce.
have
exactly.
His
Exactly.
divorces that he had as well. It could have been
absolutely was
rejection.
he a bitter Bob? You know what I
Yes,
uh-huh.
mean? That's what I'm talking
exactly.
He
about.
very
Exactly.
well could have blamed his mother that his father didn't stay. See, that's why I was talking in the beginning about what he told that interview he did with Vlad TV was the most revealing, because you got a chance to look at him uh, uh, in what we call in social work, the integrated approach to, the biopsychosocial framework,
Yes,
looking at
yes.
the total man. I'm saying, okay, so some of this stuff makes sense now.
Yes. When
And
you
Yeah.
look,
I absolutely agree. I don't believe the gay stuff. I think he had mama issues.
yes,
I think he
Yes.
may have
I
grown
think
And then
up.
he
Not to
was,
say
and
he
he
didn't
was,
love his mother, but he might have blamed her for some stuff.
yes. And then the
and
fact
he
that
was
he turned around and
divorced.
had a daughter. He didn't try to do anything with his daughter. His daughter really did say, he was just there physically, mentally, and emotionally. He was not there for me. And then when she talked about the fact how her father had gotten physical with her, my father would have never, ever, ever done anything like that to me, ever. The way she's saying it, he, pulled her and smashed
Ah,
her head up or choked her or something up against a glass window. My father
Oh,
would
wow.
never do anything like that to me, ever.
right.
So
And
You
Deborah,
were
you
going to
were
say something?
saying, excuse me, you were saying as far as him being dangerous, he was divorced what, two times? The first marriage 1 year, the second marriage 3 years, or if
Three.
three.
Yep.
So he giving advice on something that he wasn't successful at, and the danger I see in that is his influence
I
over
agree.
young teenage boys. But it's
absolutely.
right,
Yeah.
but so what he influencing them and suggesting that to them that they look for the superficial only in life, and again that don't bring peace. So
And
that was
marriage
the
ain't
danger to
nothing
me.
like that. Trust.
not at all. Because there was
Right.
times when I was married, I wanted to bash Mr.'s head in. I'm telling you, it ain't
Oh yeah,
always. You want to send him to the moon. Don't.
That's
absolutely.
He
that's
can go
it's
to the
work
moon
for
tonight,
real.
and I'll be all right. So yes, there's ups and downs and sweet and sour in every single thing. It takes work for every relationship, even with your friends, your
I bet you he wish he had a wife when that heart was stopping on him.
Come
See, this
on
is what.
now.
Listen,
Listen.
Because let me tell you something. A wife could have brought him back.
come
thank
Opposed
you.
to a
on.
wife could have
Yes,
brought him back with no
yes,
training, with no
And
yes,
sexual
that's the
training.
whole story.
exactly,
I would say
exactly.
I would venture to say that with confidence. If he had somebody there that really loved him, cared about him, was invested in him, listen, she'd have turned that whole building upside down to get
Okay,
keep that
Because
man
thank
alive.
you.
wife is something
And
Yes,
totally different.
the woman could have been closer to his age. He was what, 56. He could have missed out
Yes,
on a good woman that could have
instead
been
of messing
40
around
plus,
with that
50
kid.
plus. Right.
Right.
but see, like you
But
said,
see,
he wanted somebody that had silky hair. When she got wet, she was gonna look a certain way. She had this type of whatever about herself. He did not look for anything that was nearly his age. Even a woman in her
Like
40s,
Peggy said, nothing with substance.
no
Nothing with
he
substance.
wanted
substance.
he wanted a
No
trophy.
substance.
He
Because
wanted a trophy wife.
it's a total different. Like when my husband had COVID and we didn't know much about it and he was sick. I ain't care. They said don't go in that room. I ain't care
Right.
what they said. I was in
That's
that mug flipping, washing,
That's right.
doing whatever. I
Absolutely.
didn't care if I caught. Like I really did
Now,
not care. And then while
Right.
other people were dying by the
yes.
grace of God, he made it. We didn't go to no
Yes.
hospitals,
Right.
didn't go
And
to no
thank God
doctors.
you still here. You didn't
Yes.
contract it and you're fine. So
but
like
But
you
see,
that's a
said,
wife
but
though,
let
right.
you
me
know,
say
and
this too.
I can see God honors that. You
Yes.
know,
Right.
whatever your perception of God is, I don't want to, but the thing is that God honors that. And she, I mean, it's just a difference. And we have to, women, listen, find other ways. There's nothing wrong with getting a man's opinion or viewpoint or whatever the case may be, or anyone's viewpoint for that matter. But you've got to sit down and do the work. We have to figure out and know who we are, not let
Mhm.
these jacklegs come in and have us all, messed up and confused. And, they were talking about people. Yeah, he was clean enough to engage all cultures. Yeah, she's given us the tea on what this manosphere is. O'Shea Duke is a YouTuber. Tommy Sotomayor is a YouTuber. The lead attorney is a YouTuber. All of these guys, Anton Daniels, I believe, as well. They
I've
all in this
seen the
quote
lead
unquote
attorney. I've
sector called
seen,
the manosphere.
yeah.
Yes. Yes. She is absolutely correct. Thank you, 12 Bells, for that information. She is right. I'm learning a lot. And I want to make sure before we go, because I don't want to hold us any longer. It's 12:45, y'all. That time that went.
Yeah.
Good conver-
And
That's
if
what
y'all,
happens
Yeah.
with good
listen,
conversation.
I
Yeah.
love doing panels like this. So, I would love for everybody to come back and, we can take this conversation to the next level. But I want to make sure that everybody, and we're gonna get Tanya on board. She had well, we finally got her on social media. She finally came. That took about 20 years. So now we
Deborah,
got
can
to
I
get her
say
on
something?
YouTube.
Can I
Yeah.
say something? Like you say, the conversation will continue. From talking to Black men, a lot of them and reading things blame the Black woman for racism or for their station in life. I just want to say on behalf of Black women that we love them. We was right in the cotton field beside them picking cotton. So this thing, even especially they all hate the movie The Color Purple, but this war they got going on, like between Black men and Black women, I think is not real. And I don't sometimes don't understand when they're like it's our fault, because we were in the same boat together.
Yes.
Amen.
Yeah. Like you said, we're
So
trying to
listen, I want everybody to go ahead. I'm sorry. Did someone
I was just saying, like she said, I have high respect for having and being a Black, being with a Black man. I mean, I was raised by a Black father. My father, showed and taught me a lot of things about being a young lady, being a girl, and doing things. And then at the same time, he was teaching me how to be self-sufficient and being able to take care of myself. Don't wait and sit back and wait for someone to do something for you. You need to know how to do it for yourself. Check your oil in your car. Get out here and look at your tires. Is it low? Then go get some air put in your tire. Don't drive around here with your car dirty. Clean your car out. Don't do this. Don't do that. So he put those type of things in me to where I know how to go out there, and if my car seems to be acting some kind of way, and pull that oil stick out and check my oil, pay attention to my mileage, go get my oil changed and do these type of things. You don't sit back and wait for it. I mean, he was doing it for my household, for my mom, of course, because she didn't have to worry about and do those type of things. But as me being a daughter and coming into a different type of an arena as to what the world was changing into, he said, look, you need to know how and what to do. Thanks, Kim. I'm not going to, be around you all the time to be able to do these things. And yet at the same time, I want you to be able to be self-sufficient enough to where you don't have to wait on someone. You need to know the avenues and the directions and the roads to go to get what you need. So, that's a big difference. I mean, there's a lot of people that didn't have a two-parent household, and those type of issues sometimes are a problem. But then there's a lot of people that were raised by one parent and they're beautiful. They're fine. There's nothing wrong with them. You have to stop letting the things that people are saying in society affect you. You have to grasp and pull the things that work for you. And don't think that if somebody, like you said, the things that Kevin Samuels was saying, I never took any validity in anything, even being that I'm a light-skinned woman. A lot of times being light-skinned was a curse because I was being told, oh, you are albino, you're not Black, you're not this, you're not that. So it was always something to be said. But I mean, I had to realize, who are you? The only person I got to answer to and worry about is what God thinks and what God says I am. And I know that I'm a child of the King and I'm his daughter. So I'm not worried about what you're saying and what you're thinking. But again, it's all about your own confidence and how you build yourself and what you think of yourself. And these people, they let him belittle them and they got caught up in it. Then at the same time, we thrive off of foolishness. Instead of shutting him down and saying, you know what, man, you out here doing things. We kept going to him, looking for his approval, looking for him to tell us something. And about what? He had no validity and no substance whatsoever. So, we got to walk away from that. You have to think about what works and what's good for you and apply that.
Absolutely.
Absolutely right. I agree.
Yeah, absolutely. We have to stop doing this stuff, ladies. We have got to stop. We have got to stop doing this. Nobody can tell you what you are worth. I mean, there are, all kinds of examples. If you look around your community, within your own family, and all of that kind of stuff, you could have defied the majority of the stuff he was saying, not taking that stuff to heart. You're overweight. You can't get a man. The devil is a lie.
Okay.
In what world?
Return to sender.
Women with men all the time.
Exactly.
Right. Send that right on back to hell where you came from.
Exactly. Because some men don't care nothing about what you look like. They want to know what's in your heart, what's in your head.
Absolutely.
And I think in this climate that we're living in right now, I think that we're going to start seeing more people come together as one, because people are looking for friendship. People are looking for companionship right now, because we are living in a world where you just don't want to live it and go at it alone anymore.
Right.
We're living in a world where we need people, and we're not going to be overly concerned about the packaging. Do you know what I'm saying? In terms from, and when I say that, I mean from an outward physical type of appearance or thing like that, because we are really looking for someone that we can just be friends with and trust that this someone has the best interest, where we're in the best interest of that person. And that's what we're really looking for. And it's going to come down to way more than the gospel according to Kevin Samuels.
Absolutely.
Amen.
You know?
Yes, Nikki. Absolutely.
Right, because Calvin Samuel, he should not be lying to men like loneliness is only a woman's issue. I know so many lonely older men.
He was lonely.
And that we're gonna
Right.
that women can die alone.
Yes.
Men gonna age and they can die alone also.
He was
He
lonely.
almost did.
He was
Right.
He
lonely.
almost did.
Listen, you're lonely when you just meet someone and you take them home. Listen, and let me just go back real quick before I get off of here and say this real quick. Something that Miss Peggy said, and you guys kind of came behind it. About how that a wife would have been able to bring him back. I was talking to my cousin about his death yesterday, and I said, no, we don't get to choose how we die, but we get to choose how we live, and we get to choose what we're putting out there. And when we speak so much negativity, we can sow so much death around us, and we don't even know it, that we could literally be walking in death because we're sowing these things. We're sowing these seeds. We're not speaking life. We're speaking so much negativity, right? And I said to my cousin, I said, we don't choose our death. I said, but I wouldn't want to die with someone that I had met the night before.
Yes, power is in the tongue. Death is in the tongue. What you put out there is what you was getting back.
I want to, if I'm going to leave this earth, I want to be around the people who I know love me.
Mm-hmm.
Or
at least cared about me. At least cared enough about me to say, if I saw you in something, I'm going to help you. You know what I'm saying? Don't have me be on fire and you standing there telling me I wouldn't even spit on you.
And I'm around someone who's not even willing to perform the right measures to, and so I believe he sowed that. I believe he sowed that seed and he reaped that harvest. I really, really do.
I agree. Like you said, I'm not calling it karma per se, but what was out there in the atmosphere for you, it wasn't real pretty. It wasn't real pretty. And then, like you said, with this woman being around him and being there, yes, she did try to call for assistance and everything like that for him. But like you said, if you were who you said you were, which was a medical professional, why weren't you helping him more than what we saw? Unless we're missing something there. I don't know.
I think she called because, like, what would that look like? If she walked away, there probably would have been cameras that would show, it was a woman here the night before. So we honestly don't know how long he was there. If that really was, it's a lot of stuff. I done seen so much that I'm just like, he could have had a heart attack 20 minutes before, and she just decided to call trying to figure out what she's gonna do next because she doesn't want to be blamed for it.
Right.
And they need to make a movie.
I don't think she didn't necessarily call to me by the way she acted out of necessarily concern. But it could have been more so out of, what else do you do if you don't want to be
out of a duty? Out of a duty. But my whole thing is I'm not saying that she could have saved him because she was a professional in the medical, field. But I just think that it seems a little sketchy that, if you are a traveling nurse, then that means you got a lot of skills for you to be going all over the nation to be trying to save, to be taking care of someone. And for something like that to have happened, and like you said, she was just all over the place with not a cool head, no path as to saying this is what I would do in an emergency situation. It just didn't seem like that was happening. She was trying to, I don't know. I just find it kind of suspect in my eyes that if you are a licensed,
I have a lot of questions.
That just does not sit to me to be like all you were doing was on the phone. He's turning blue. So should you have dropped the phone and started doing chest compression, CPR? Nothing. You just weren't doing anything but talking and just saying, I need help. I need
I
help.
probably wouldn't even called until I started it. Then I would have been with one hand and still doing like on speaker. Like that right there, you're
running out
wasting
into the
time.
hallway or wherever you was, hollering, help me, I need help. Go back in there.
And as a medical professional, she would know how critical those first few minutes are in a stroke, in a heart attack situation, cardiac arrest situation. Shirley Arrington, hi Shirley. She's saying she wasn't willing but to go but so far. And I really think that they need to look into this man's death. I don't care what he said. I think it's awful that someone had to die like that.
I think they need to make a movie about his life, and he get to heaven and he meet God, and God is a black woman.
That would be karma.
Right.
Now that's a movie.
And then he wondered why he's still at the gate. Why am I still waiting?
I've been here for 10 years and you still ain't let me
back to you. What? We're gonna get back to you. That would be something. That would be something.
Yeah, that would be karma. And look, I ain't gonna send you to hell. You gonna stay right here with me under my authority.
We'll get back to you. Just have a seat. Have a seat. We'll get back to you. And just be waiting.
12 bells. Shirley is saying, if he was with a loved one, they would have done the CPR. Yeah, absolutely. Kim is laughing at what Peggy said. Shirley is too. That's hilarious. Yeah. 12 bells said something important. Domestic violence is still a huge issue today, which is why we have to pay attention to the messaging of this quote unquote manosphere. I don't know a lot about them. Had Kevin Samuels not passed away, I didn't know anything about them prior.
Never heard of that.
I'm familiar with some of the YouTubers, O'Shea Duke and the lead attorney and some other ones, but I didn't know anything about this manosphere stuff. But anyway, she says domestic violence is still a huge issue today. Women struggle in the area of acceptance, and that's true. Which would explain why we would turn to so many women would turn to someone that is literally insulting them to get their advice. And I don't know. But at any rate, I want to make sure that we give a shout out to, I guess, I don't know what happened to Nikki. I don't know if her connection dropped or what.
Oh, yeah.
But at any rate, she is also a new YouTuber. Her channel is called Nikita Nicole. You saw her sticker up there. And she does the Spots We Miss podcast. All right, Miss Peggy, go ahead and tell everyone where they can find you for your podcast.
Okay, hi everyone. I'm Peggy. I'm the poet known as Noni Love Child. I write and perform under Noni Love Child. My book is on Amazon. It's entitled A Voice from Third World America. My YouTube channel is A Voice from Third World America. And also I have my Facebook page is The Final Emancipation, A Spiritual Awakening. So that's it. You can find my book on Amazon and on BarnesandNoble.com. A Voice from Third World America by Noni Lovechild. Peace.
Thank you, Peggy. Yes, she does. She has a very. I have the book as well. I'll probably try to link it in the description box. But and also the link to her channel. Go ahead, Attorney Pam.
Hey everyone, thank you so much for sharing your platform. I really appreciate everyone that has listened today. My name is Attorney Pamela Campbell, and my YouTube channel is Pam Esquire, it's PAMESQ, The Law Intellect. And I drop videos here and there. I go live every now and then, but not too often. I'm going to do better at that. But I talk about all things legal from the neighborhood to Hollywood. If you want to, you can inbox me or email me. All my information is on my YouTube page. If you have any topics or you have any questions, I can ask generally, but I can't give any legal advice unless I'm retained. So I'm trying to keep my law license, So, but that's it. Just head on over there and subscribe, like, check out some of my videos, and I look forward to meeting and talking to some of you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely go and to subscribe and go and subscribe to all of these ladies. Please, let's support each other. Make sure that you follow them. I'm gonna go back and link to their channels, their Facebook pages, and all of that stuff. Peggy has some things coming up. I think you're gonna do some things legislatively, correct, in terms of
Well, I
mental
wrote
health.
state representatives, and thank you for sharing your platform, as Attorney Pam said, and you have been a wealth, Deborah, information and help.
Oh
Um,
yeah, thank you.
but yes, I have wrote different state representatives about my son's case. Right now, I'm getting kind of, I'm gonna say, tired or weary. I kind of put it in God's hand. He been gone now since 2016, and since that time, I lost a second son.
Oh, wow.
So writing is healing. We talked about our life up here. I grew up in the foster care system, so didn't have mother or father. So I understand what everyone was saying about we have to determine our own worth, and I basically had to raise myself. So I can say by God's grace and good mercy that I'm still standing.
Yeah.
Um, I
When
have
you
wrote
say that
state
you're
rep.
writing the legislature, what exactly are you trying to do?
What I'm writing to establish is Musali's law. My son name was Musali. He was in a group home when he had a fight at a group home in Pontiac, Michigan. He was arrested. What I'm asking is that those, especially in group homes dealing with mental illness, are taken to a hospital first. Um, trying to get Musali's law established, where instead of him being someone being taken directly to jail, they're taken at least to a hospital to be stabilized. One clue, and a big clue for the officers that arrive, is a group home. It's a place for people that's incapacitated. So I think that should have been handled differently. He ended up being elected in jail and basically dying. They did resuscitate him, and he went to a hospital on life support for 3 months, but he never got off of life support. And when I went to the hospital, he was chained to the bed. My son walked into the jail. He came out quadriplegic, paralyzed from head to toe. So he didn't really need to be shackled to a bed. I think that it could have been more compassion with those that are dealing with mental illness. And if the officers know that there's a record of mental illness, especially if they go into a facility for those who are mentally ill, take them to a hospital. I saw a case where is I think racism plays a part, because I see cases where white people, it was a lady who killed her children. They took her to a hospital first. At least he could have been having a seizure or anything. So basically, just getting the law changed where they are taken to a hospital first to be stabilized at least.
Okay, because before I became an attorney for 12 years, I worked at the day programs. So I know about working with various group homes, and there were certain protocols we had
Wow.
where that's what we did was they had to go to the hospital. I've had a guy that died, like when I was talking about the Heimlich maneuver and all of that. I had to do all that while I was there, and I had a guy that actually, well, I resuscitated him and he died later in the hospital. But we did have those were the protocols, like when they flipped out or had bad days or whatever happened, because they did that. You knew that's what you got yourself into. Now, there were times where, I had, even when I left and decided to become an attorney, after doing that for 12 years, they still would call me to calm people down, because you get a
Wow.
rapport and you get a relationship with them. It's hard. Like I used to go home with my kids grew up with them, because we would go to the group homes, we would go to their
Yeah.
independent living apartments, because you get a
Wow.
connection with them. So that's like something that's dear to me as well, just because I did it so many years. And that was one of the reasons why I wanted to be an attorney, because I felt like they weren't treated the way that they should have been treated. And if you don't have people that's like me that takes it personal, it's just a job. And it was too
Yeah.
many people in homes that made all this money, and it was just a job. It just, they really didn't care like that. So I definitely agree that they need to do something to and the police just don't even have the requisite training. To me, they just don't. And
Yeah.
that's why stuff like
No,
this
they
happens.
they
They don't have the
definitely
training.
don't.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
these
that's a
conversations is
huge
bringing that
problem.
to light, and can help someone else. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, so her story is she actually wrote a blog on my website, www.canmichigan.com. CAN is short for Community Advocate Network. CanMichigan.com is the website. Her story is on there. It's very compelling.
Okay.
Attorney
I'll
Pam,
have
I
to
think
check
you
it
would.
out. Check it out.
Yeah,
Hmm.
and some issues with the group homes and all of that kind of stuff. This is why it's so important that we support each other, especially as women. Who knew that she had that background? I just met Attorney Pam.
Yeah.
I just know her as the local attorney
Yep. I
that's on
did
a
that for
fellow
12 years, and
YouTuber.
I've been an attorney for going on 12 years now.
Yeah, see,
Hmm.
I had no idea that she had that background, and you're trying to do some things legislatively. I would actually suggest that you keep her in the loop, even if you just inbox her or something like that. Go and follow her on Facebook or whatever, and just inbox her and keep her in there. She may be
Yeah,
able
let me
to,
know. I represent a couple of politicians.
advise you, or maybe someone she knows or anything. So it's very important that we support each other and know who we were. When I found out she was in Michigan, inboxed her. I was watching somebody else's show and they ran her commercial, and they said she was in Michigan. I was like, I sat there and inboxed her right then. It's like, hey, I'm a YouTuber too. I'm in Michigan too, you know.
Mhm.
And so Tanya is our home girl that, she left us. She left the country.
Like
No.
you left Detroit like everybody else and went to
Yeah, I'm in
Atlanta.
Atlanta, so I'm a Motor City Peach girl.
So that's what y'all calling them now. I'm like,
Yeah, we're Motor City Peach girls.
You got oil left on the peaches. You got
Yeah.
motor
listen,
oil on the
my
peaches.
sister moved to Atlanta. I had a lot of my entertainment clients. They moved to Atlanta. I'm like, so I'm there a
Yeah,
lot. I've had a
it's a
couple of cases
mecca.
in
It
Atlanta.
is.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a mecca. So I appreciate all you guys coming to hang out with me today. I enjoyed this, y'all.
I did.
I
It was
Yeah,
great,
good
enjoyed this.
great,
time.
This was
great
like
panel,
really
great
good.
conversation. It was really good. I
Yeah.
really
It
did
was
enjoy
really
it.
good. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
and it was nice meeting everyone, and I will stay in touch and get your links and follow
Please
your
do.
channel. Yes.
yeah, definitely. Yeah. Follow her on Facebook and let her know what's going on. So Tanya, talk us out. Say goodbye to everybody and
Yes, everyone.
thank you guys
You have an
again. Let's do it
amazing
again
rest of your
soon.
day. Like you said, don't let people say things to you that you are being offended by. Be yourself. Just be you and accept who you are, and whatever you see and know that you need to do to make yourself better, then you work on that. If you need assistance and help, get some assistance, get some help. There's a lot out here now. So don't let someone that has their own perceptions of what they think people are affect you. Just don't. Just don't.
Right on.
Mm-hmm. Be yourself.
Ditto.
Yes,
Anything, Peggy?
No,
Any
this
final
right on
words,
what she's
Peg?
saying. Free to be me with no apologies. That's right.
absolutely.
Okay. All right.
All
Attorney
right.
Pam, any final thoughts?
Yeah, I just want you guys to all have a blessed and productive day. And again, I thank you for having me, and I look forward for our future panels.
Absolutely. Everybody have
Absolutely.
a wonderful everything.
Everybody
Okay.
have a wonderful
Bye-bye.
day. Thank you so much for coming up at the last second. It wasn't planned. I had no idea. She just happened to pop. Attorney Pam
No
just happened
problem.
to pop into the comments, and I was like invited her up, and so she was so gracious to do that. Peggy as well, always supportive, and of course my sis Tanya. We got 30 years of skin in the game, so
Yeah.
Oh,
that's just my sis. She there.
Yeah.
She's
and
just
Deborah,
there.
I'm Peggy. When I was at Blue Cross 9 to 5, when I'm on social media, I'm Noni Love Child.
Oh
Okay.
yes. Yes. absolutely.
Thank you.
I have to yeah, I have to remember that. Yeah,
Okay, thank
that's
you.
her artistry name.
That's my handle. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
So Noni Love Child, the channel is the YouTube channel is a voice from third world America. Now chew on that. Now that ought to
Yeah,
give you
that's
an
a deep
idea.
title. Look, the title is deep.
Mhm.
That ought to give you an idea. She coming with the real stuff. And Pam, of course, Pam Esquire, the law, intellect, the way that you see it on her ticker tag as well. And then we're gonna figure out what Tanya gonna do. But
Ah, Tanya being Tanya.
all right, y'all have a good Saturday afternoon. I appreciate everybody that has joined us today. Take care, and we'll see
All
you
right.
next time.
Alrighty,
All
bye.
right. See
everybody.
y'all.